Welcome to OWAD today. I'm Sophia, pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue exploring ocean/industrial age concepts. And today is a big word that we talked about before in either Fa or Lü. We talked about individual characters before. That's in classical China era because classical China is the longest span of China in our history, like a written language history, because they are written language. They are, writing, meaning this society was developed and mature enough to record what happened, right? And the point of view of recording is the history makers, meaning the ruling, the power, those in power, those who can pass their message down. And so we have this classical China era lasts about 2,000 years. And like these characters are the result of standardization of the writing language form back then. And we inherit, and today simplified like Taiwan, Hong Kong, traditional Chinese, and then simplified Chinese, where I was born into. So when I do such exploration, I always go to as far as we can. Before the standardization, there will be a garden variety of this concept, different ways of rendering it, different pictures, right? But then eventually things got conformed and there will become this winner or the survivor of this one that's finally get compiled into the dictionary that we're seeing here. Okay. So 法律, one is law, one is regulation. It's almost equivalent to English law and order because 律 is exactly about order. It's the order from the top that's going to standardize the practice from the nation. Okay, this is an easier one. Let's go for the easy one. We have three-finger hand symbol here, holding, three-finger hand symbol, holding a big brush. Okay. In ancient times, the literacy rate was low. And those who do can read and write are most likely those who were close to power. So when we have this hand holding this big brush, writing something, and that would already imply this is the message coming from the ruler, from power. And the left side, the three strokes are in particular the left footstep, because we have the character 行, which is both left and right footsteps. It comes in three pairs. We just use three to almost imply a variable of, it's not exactly an infinity, but you can imagine however many. It means recurring footsteps in there. And we just show three. That's enough to show it's continuous footsteps. And by just showing you the left footsteps, that's again enough to show you because we're not hopping forward, right? It's implied we're going to use both feet. But in language, we just grab a part of it. That's just enough to show what it's about. And Chinese have a way of using walking as the general doing, because walking probably, this spatial change is an obvious way of somebody is moving around with a purpose, with a goal, with some mission, right? And we use walking as the obvious behavioral level trait to show the general doing. Okay, so this written down doing is the way from the top of the ruler to regulate, to set the standard of a certain practice. And we can easily see, like today, it's kind of monetary policy, right? Everybody look at the Federal Reserve about their interest rate setting, things like that. Only the central government back then do such things, and then kind of unify standard, everybody follow the same practice. So same idea, ancient version. So that's 律. 法, we have this water symbol. on the left side. The right side is a deer symbol. So it's kind of a mythical animal that was, according to the myth, was able to tell right from wrong. The wrongdoers, the animal would go up and kind of touch that wrong person, even if it cannot verbalize, but just by behavior, it can identify who was at fault of things. So this served as the judging part, and then water symbol served as, because for water to exist in a certain boundary, right? It has to be flat. If it's not flat, then it's going to flow away, right? It's going to flow to the low ground. As long as water stay at some place, we can guarantee the surface of that water is even. And in fact, is it called a leveler? The thing that for the craftsmen to determine if anything is even is by that water bubble in the water. So water means even. It's long known, right? So here we use water to symbolize evenness in the judgment of this mythical figure. And the bottom is a cave, kind of this shape, and then kind of a star figure thing. That means leaving the cave or leaving your tribe. That to me interpreted as exile, like you were exiled to faraway land. So that's ancient punishment. I guess there are a variation of punishment in corresponding to the crimes you committed back then, right? So one of them is exile, put you in away from your community, from your people, and that in itself is enough punishing for some certain crimes. And so now here we have the judge, we have the rule need to be even, and then we have the result, the punishment to be exiled. And the three components together form the concept of law. And now we know law and the regulation paired together is how we translate law itself. You may say, okay, 法 and 律, 法 by itself is already law. Why do we need a 律 over there? Okay, that's related to the monosyllabus of China. That's my theory. Okay, we can, in written form, use 法 by itself, and also in a context, we can tell what the 法 was talking about here. It means the law. But a lot of times it's verbal communication. In verbal communication, when they say 法, it can mean many, many different things. And to de-ambiguate by verbal, by audible information, we put something that kind of relatively to that, like a nearby concept. So 法 and 律, both of them are kind of similar, right? Talking about the rule, talking about judgment, talking about following a certain way that decided by the higher power of the country or the tribe. Then that two concepts, they are in proximity. And so when we try to disambiguous or pick both of them, coin a word. So ultimately, when you hear 法律, the chances of something that sounds like 法律 but mean a totally different thing will be much, much lower than just singular 法 or singular 律. That's my theory, why we have such a, looks like a redundancy of information over there, but a necessity to facilitate verbal communication. All right, so that's 法律. Thank you for your time. See you another day.